my family has gone through tough times during Latvia's occupation by Soviet Union after the Second World War. Soviet Union was formed in 1922 after Russian Civil War, and it resulted in a collapse of the Republic of Russia, as it was replaced by the Russian Socialist Federative Soviet Republic. Red Army entered several territories of the former Russian Empire and helped local communists seize power. But it didn't work out in neither of the Baltic states, Latvia, Lithuania, or Estonia. My dad was born in Siberia, and so was his sister, Laima, in a small village called Maryanovka in Omsk district, Russia. His closest family members were the victims of mass deportations taking place in Soviet Latvia on 25th of March 1949, when they were sent to Siberia in cattle carriages. These two photographs were taken by me in Maryanovka train station when I first visited the village my dad was born in. This is the train station my grandmother Tamara, her 2-year-old son Sasha, her sister Marta, Marta's 4-year-old son Maris, and my great-grandmother were deported to. This was the second mass deportation performed by Soviet authorities. And this time, 43,000 people were deported to Siberia for life, with 10,000 children, infants, elderly people, and even people raised from their deathbed among them. So, it was 3 a.m. when the soldiers entered my grandmother's house, and I asked Uncle Sasha to tell me more about that night's events when he was 2 years old. When the soldiers came after us, I was crying, and Mom held me in her hands. I remember nothing myself. Mom said that I was crying, and I said that I want to go to my bed, I want to be in my room, and she got so nervous she wasn't able to do anything. We had guests in our house that night, my grandmother, my mom's sister Marta, and my cousin Maris. And although they weren't on the list, they got deported as well, because we shared the same surname. Lima is my grandmother's only daughter, and she's also my godmother. So I wanted to find out what kind of details she remembers from the stories told to her by my grandmother and great-grandmother about the deportation. They were given about 15 minutes to get ready, and my grandma started to pack things in bags she thought might be useful. And whatever she put in the bags, Aunt Marta took it out, crying, "They're gonna shoot us anyway, they're gonna shoot us anyway." Only my grandma reacted calmly. I think it's because she had gone through so many bad things in her life. She survived 2 world wars. My dad has always been a great storyteller when it comes to history. Moreover, if it's directly linked to the history of his family. So he knew the story in more detail. Four or 5 people entered the house at 3 o'clock in the morning. One of them was a Latvian communist, and his name was Jānis Bērziņš. The rest of them were soldiers with guns. One of the soldiers tried to calm down my mom, and he suggested in Russian to take some warm clothing and winter boots with them. Then communist Bērziņš ordered my mom, aunt and grandma to place all the golden jewelry on the table so he could put it in his pockets. But not all of the jewelry was handed over to the soldiers, but instead hidden in pillowcases and blankets when the soldiers weren't watching and taken with them to Siberia. The family was taken to cattle carriages that were in 2 levels. There were no beds, no toilets. It took them about 2 weeks to reach the destination. The train stopped about twice a day so the people could do their thing, but not everyone could wait till the next stop, so they had to do it in a bucket inside the carriage. Most of the time those buckets were overflowing with urine, so because of these unsanitary conditions, many people got sick and died on the way. And Mom also told me that whenever the train stopped, the stations were surrounded with soldiers that had guns, so no one could escape. And those were also the times they were given food. By now you're probably wondering what was the reason for my family's deportation. And that was the question I wanted to find out myself as well, because I always thought that the family was deported because my grandmother's brother, Karlis, was seen as the public enemy of the Soviet Union since his name was on the list of called up soldiers in the Nazi army, Latvian division. But turns out that it wasn't the case, and it wasn't the case why he was arrested. He was arrested because his name was on the list of the Latvian youth organization, where basically young males were taught how to become saboteurs in Soviet Union after Latvia will be occupied. For this reason, he was arrested and imprisoned in a concentration camp in Siberia for 10 years.